quick. We're not used to doing these Sunday afternoon. So we have a special show today. We're going to see where this one goes. It is Mother's Day.
Yep.
Happy Mother's Day. So we thought that it would be fun to bring our mom on the show. So this is funny. So we're doing this with our mom. Welcome. You can talk now.
I can?
Yeah. You gotta get a little closer there.
Get closer.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
This is your first. This is
And what I say will be on the internet forever.
I told her, go. Just make sure that whatever you say is going to be on the internet forever. In
the archives.
So,
Okay.
just know. Okay. So you've watched enough of these. We don't really have much of an agenda. We just talk.
Here's a random question for you.
Oh, there's already people asking questions.
No, this is my personal question.
Oh, okay.
We got a lot of feedback lately that there's just been a monstrous amount of ads on the live streams lately.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
does
somebody
YouTube,
said that.
No, but like multiple people. And then I was watching some other channels that I follow, and I was going through comments, and they were experiencing the same thing. That's like a YouTube decision.
Yeah,
right?
we have no say.
Yes.
We have a say in whether they run ads or not by monetizing it or not.
Right.
But we have no say in what ads they show, obviously, because they're personalized.
But do we have say over the frequency of ads? I don't think we do.
You honestly might. I just click monetize and I don't click anything else. You probably do. I've not played with any of the settings. I know like some people get like different ads based on what you've been Googling. So I don't know.
It's hilarious. I listened to this liberal. First of all, I listened to like tons of different YouTube news channels, both liberal, both conservative, and on all the liberal ones, every single ad is a Donald Trump ad.
Really?
It's
I remember
hilarious.
we were getting Bloomberg ads.
Yeah.
Left and right. You were getting a lot of Bloomberg mail.
Yeah.
When I was living at your house. Yeah, we don't have say in what they run. We might have some say in the frequency.
I don't think we do. Yeah.
Never messed with it.
Like this one video I was watching from this other YouTuber had like 25 ads.
Really?
It was like an hour and a half long.
Maybe YouTube's getting desperate. I don't know.
I don't
know. So yeah, ads are there.
Yep.
So all right, we said this Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Yes.
Hopefully you're doing something fun. You're probably not live streaming like our mom though. You've watched most of these, haven't you?
I have.
So you know what you're in for.
I'm ready. Bring it on.
A lot of people are wishing you Happy Mother's Day in the chat. There you go.
Well, two people.
Because
there's
3 people.
Okay, there we go.
Yep. So I thought this would be fun. We could talk about. Have you ever backpacked?
Have I ever backpacked? I have not.
We'll start there. Really?
I've hiked a lot.
Yeah.
I've slept out in the outdoors. I've slept in tents. I've slept outside. But have I ever carried everything on my back? No, I never have. But there's a first time for everything. So
when's the last time you slept in the woods?
in the woods, it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
Like 30 years? Like when you were
at
like
least.
a teenager?
No. I remember camping with your sister out in a tent.
Really?
Yes, in Maine.
Really?
When she was 2 years old. Yes, we took a tent to Maine, and it poured down rain all night. The tent leaked all night.
That
so
sounds
there
terrible.
Good
Yeah, that
times.
sounds awesome.
Good times.
You wonder
It
why our
was way
sister
be-
hates camping.
It was way before. It was way before.
But she's never camped.
Apparently
she did
she
that
has.
night. She did
But she
that
can't
night.
remember that.
It was way before good equipment. I mean, this was an old canvas tent that the rain, if you touched it, it started pouring in.
Hey,
So-
we won World War II and World War I.
With those
It
canvas
was
tents.
canvas
Canvas
tents. Canvas tents.
All right, here's a question for you.
Yes.
And this is actually a good thing because we've talked about this. So Ginger Rush says, I remember your son's coming to your house to cook a backpacking meal for the dehydrator. That was a Hungarian goulash. Any more recipes? We talked about this.
Yeah, there's one I want to try. I want to try one with orzo. I want to try one by taking chicken breasts and chopping them up, sauteing them, and then combining them with some sauteed onions, mushrooms, maybe garden peas. And then I want to put orzo in and cook the orzo down in the broth and then see if we can't dehydrate that. That's my next thing I'm going to try.
The two issues you'll have is we have to get the chicken as tiny.
Oh, I know. I get that. We'll do tiny pieces.
And then peas don't dehydrate the nicest.
Really?
Yeah.
They don't?
No. And Backcountry Foodie talked about this too. They turn into like these tiny little green, these tiny little dark green peas, like very, very small, but they don't rehydrate back.
How about carrots?
I don't know. But
Mushrooms? Peas don't.
Mushrooms?
Not mushrooms do
Yeah,
wonderfully.
Okay,
mushrooms
all right.
well.
We'll do
But
mushrooms.
you could do the peas. It's just they won't rehydrate the same.
No, bag the peas. I'll try like shredded carrots.
We could
Now
buy,
that would be a good idea.
Yeah,
you
we'll
could-
try shredded carrots.
you could buy freeze dried peas and
No.
add those afterwards.
Do you want the laptop?
Now, I think I'm going to try, we'll do shredded carrots, sauteed onions, mushrooms, and chopped finely chicken. And then I'm going to make chicken broth, put that in there, put the orzo in there, and cook the orzo down in the chicken broth
Why orzo?
because it's a tiny pasta.
I like when she told me that. I
that's a
thought
good
that was a
idea.
good idea.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Yeah, and I thought I'm always trying to think of things that are small.
Yeah.
So
You've been
that's what we're
talking
trying.
about this recipe for
I know, I've done it.
many weeks.
I know, it's on the back. burner,
There's nothing
it's
else
the
going
back
on.
burner. I know, speak quiet. Yes. Yeah, so that's okay this week. I promise you. This
What
week
about-
we will try it.
What about couscous? That's in the
Couscous?
chat.
That's a-
From
You know,
Mike K.
I don't know about couscous. I've never tried couscous. I wonder if it would be too tiny.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's a good question. We could try it. We could actually, what I could do is try it with both and see which one we like better. Because
That sounds
couscous
kinda good.
is the same theory. You're
It's rice,
you're
right?
cooking. Couscous, I think, is a flour derivative rather than a rice.
I thought it was a
I-
nut.
Couscous? I don't think so. I
Let's
think
find
it's
Andy.
flour. Andy can find out.
Andy, Google that. Isn't
Well,
it a nut?
And
What
orzo,
the hell
orzo
is
is not rice
couscous?
either.
Orzo's pasta.
Orzo's pasta.
Orzo's rice pasta. Isn't it a nut?
Couscous, I think, it's not a
No,
nut.
it's
It's a pasta.
yeah, it's it has a nutty flavor.
What is
Yes.
it?
It's cracked pasta made from semolina.
It's semolina
so it is
flour.
pasta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's pasta. Well, let's
Oh, I was-
okay.
I
We'll
was way
try. We'll
off.
try couscous and we'll try orzo. We'll see which one works.
Well,
the
then
best.
you don't even with the couscous. You could just buy it dried and then add it once
Yeah.
you've done all the
Yeah.
other stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
For those people listening, our mom is a total hipster when it comes to food. So this will be all organic. This will be purchased.
No
This
Doritos.
will be purchased
No
from
Doritos.
all the ingredients will come from Whole Foods.
Yes. Yes. Well.
So couscous is often considered a healthy alternative to pasta since it's made from whole wheat flour.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why
yeah.
it's healthy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not even close to being a nut.
Yeah.
There's probably a whole.
what were you thinking? Like walnuts ground up?
No. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I got nothing there.
Oh no, there's no clue.
So what?
Oh, here we go.
What?
Ginger also commented and said, "What about lemon chicken? What about a lemon chicken orzo recipe?"
That sounds delicious. That's a good idea. Put some lemon juice in there. Good call, Ginger. Yeah, that's a good idea. Get some lemon juice, put that into the broth. Yeah, I like that idea. I'm going to go with that. Yeah,
Well,
good idea.
There you go. Hey,
That's
Ginger,
okay.
if you want to cook us food and dehydrate it, you're welcome to as
Yeah,
well.
yes. I will let you know how it turns out.
So what else have you been doing during this pandemic to stay busy? Have you learned any new skills? Have you? We all ask everybody this. Andy
Have
always.
I learned any new skills?
Andy asks if
you learned to tie
if
knots.
You learned to tie knots.
No, I have not learned to tie
You have a
knots.
puzzle now to do.
I do have a puzzle. I walk a lot. I ride my bike a lot. I was curious about, there's something on the internet. Somebody's offering free language classes. Like you can go online and you can learn a different language. And I thought,
What language would you learn?
I'd probably do French.
See,
I'd probably do French.
I've considered this because a lot of people who run do this because there's so much dead time running that they just listen to these things to learn language.
But how do you focus on that?
But for a couple things. One, I've seen people doing it, and you look like an absolute idiot because you're running down the path and practicing these. Like I saw a dude practicing Italian once. And two, I also thought though, I feel like if there's a language to learn in this country, it's got to be Spanish.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. I totally agree. That or Chinese.
yeah,
Yeah, Mandarin.
Mandarin.
You're gonna pick up Mandarin.
No, I'm not.
That's
Our
gonna be
our family's strong.
No.
Our strong Chinese roots.
no.
We have no Chinese roots.
Mandarin would be a difficult one to learn while you're running.
Yes, I
No.
think any of them would be difficult.
But I
Yeah.
do agree. Maybe I'll switch from French to Spanish because the Spanish should, yeah, you're right.
I just
You're
think you
right.
gotta learn
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
I always thought about it. I
So
don't know.
yeah, I've been knitting. I've been, let's see, what else have I been doing? Reading, working puzzles, working my garden, riding my bike, walking. Yeah.
Staying active.
Staying active. I wish I had the impetus. I'm a big yoga person, but
You are.
I am. But I am finding that I'm not a big yoga person when I don't have a class to go to. I'm not very self-motivated, so that's not good.
When the restaurants open back up, what restaurant are you looking forward to going to most? You're a
I
big
know.
foodie.
I'm a
think
big foodie.
I think I already know the answer to that.
Really?
It's gotta be
I
North
think.
Star.
Well, I knew you were gonna think I was gonna say North Star, but
Correct. You did.
actually,
Correct.
no.
Yes, that-
Actually, what I'm going to say is the patio at Barcelona.
If you're
Because I'm into patios. I would want to start out
Well,
on a
what
patio.
What
So-
about the patio at Lindy's?
patio
That's not
Barcelona's
bad.
better.
Like a brunch?
I like the patio at Barcelona better, but I also like North Star. That would be my second choice
For,
on the patio.
For people listening, Ohio is opening up patios,
On
restaurant patios on the 15th.
Friday.
So,
Now, am I going to be there on
are
the 15th?
you going to go there on the 15th?
No.
How
And
long
not
are you
even
going to
the
wait?
16th. That's a good question. How long am I going to wait?
You got to wait
Oh.
for the numbers.
Yeah, I will probably wait for the numbers. Yeah, I'm very distrustful, and it's interesting that I have become the new norm is eating in, not eating out. Whereas 2 months ago the new norm or the old norm was eating out, not eating in, and now it's.
Do you think we see a fundamental shift in restaurant dining from here on out?
I honestly do. I really do. I think people have learned to enjoy being at home.
Being at home's great.
I think absolutely,
it is.
absolutely, and maybe that's one of the lessons we'll take from all of this.
I
Is
think-
that we do enjoy being
I think
home.
we will see, I'm hoping we see a fundamental shifts, and Asia's been doing this since SARS, but I hope we see a fundamental shift in during flu season, people wearing masks.
Absolutely,
I hope that sticks around.
absolutely.
Just during
There's-
flu season, though.
Do you know if there's any since masks are new to our culture, but is there data out there that
Yes.
shows the
Yes.
effectiveness of it?
Yes. There is plenty of studies. In fact, as you would logically
I mean, it makes
expect,
sense. It makes sense.
There's been a couple good studies that the NIH has done many years ago. They did studies on this in like the 70s, but literally wearing anything is better than nothing, as you would expect.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense if you're controlling
and
stuff
people and
coming out of you.
You know what chaps my ass is the counter argument.
That's going to be on the internet
Yeah.
forever.
I don't
I've
care.
said way worse.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my last.
We've done way worse.
This is my
things.
last scientific soapbox. When people say masks are not effective because the virus is too small to go, the virus is small enough that it will go through the mask. The virus is small. It's certainly smaller than the holes in any mask, but the virus circulates in respiratory droplets, and what happens is the droplet itself will get stuck on the mask, and then the virus isn't going to just, I don't know, there's probably some like ambient wind conditions where it could happen, but the virus is not going to just self-permeate through the mask.
Right.
But the whole point is the mask stops respiratory droplets. Now, there are viruses, I can't think of any actually at the top of my head, but they do exist that do circulate not in
Right.
respiratory droplets. So then you're kind of screwed.
Right. Well, I mean, historically, they've had pictures all over the internet lately of people wearing masks during the 1918 Spanish flu outbreak.
Yeah, and another thing they did during the Spanish flu outbreak, which they're starting to do now, is they do blood transfusions from
Yeah.
people who
Yeah.
had it and
Well,
that
the
helped.
plasma. Now they're just
Now there's two plasma.
plasma. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
not much has changed.
Yeah.
No.
100 years.
Didn't and I believe the concept of social distancing came from the Spanish flu too.
The concept of social distancing came from the Black Plague.
No kidding.
Well, no, like organized social
Maybe
distancing.
the concept of
Yeah.
quarantine came from the Black Plague. So I don't know if you can relate that to social distancing. But I was also listening to another thing. This is kind of an interesting point. You know what happened right after the plague of the 1300s? We had the Renaissance.
Renaissance.
And
yeah.
a lot of people,
That's
like,
because
for instance,
it killed off all
Yeah.
the stupid people.
that's it.
No,
No,
stop.
no. Hey, that's
No.
not entirely. That's not entirely inaccurate.
Oh God.
A couple things. Isaac Newton, I'm pretty sure, invented calculus when he was in quarantine, and we're doing puzzles.
We're doing
I don't know.
puzzles.
Yeah.
He did something crazy. I don't know. But they do think, all the time people
The
spent
time people
locked up
had that gave them
gave
time,
them time to do
to
this,
create.
to invent calculus.
So are we
Yes.
going to see a renaissance?
You never know.
No, but
I
there's gonna be a renaissance in like the lessons learned, and then going like BAU for like a lot more virtual things.
I think you're going to see a fundamental shift in people working from home.
Yes.
because-
Oh, absolutely.
Because I think, I'm hoping what they're going to see, and so this will have a waterfall effect, I believe, on commercial real estate. But I do think you're going to see, I know our employer will certainly be looking at the data, and I don't think you're going to see a tremendous drop in productivity for people who work from home. If their job is, if your job is to sit in front of a computer all day,
Yeah.
I think they're going to see that, hey, these people working from home, they're not being that much less productive versus the fact that we got to buy office space for them.
Yeah.
That's huge overhead. So I feel like we'll have a shift in that sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
And I
totally
do
agree.
think, like, because Google just announced it, but Google's having their employees work from home until 2021, at least most of them. So I think our employer, like, I think most people, like, I don't think people are just going back to the office if you don't have to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say I'm getting pretty sick of working from home. I still go into the office like every other week for like a half day.
That not me. We're not allowed to.
I go to use the shipping center.
I'll ship stuff. For
I
you.
get crazy shipping discounts. I just go in for a half day. Nobody's there. You get free food too. I also think, and Andy and I are, and I think you're seeing this right now. I think people are itching to get outside.
Oh, outside is the best medicine for.
But I
If
the
the
weather
weather would
this morning. The
just-
weather is shit right now.
If
and
it would
it's-
just
everyone's
get
outside
consistent,
right now.
If it would just get consistent for spring.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see a lot of people, especially come Memorial Day weekend. I think you're going to see a lot of people hitting the backpacking trails. I think so.
Oh, I think people have. It's got cabin. Everybody's got cabin fever. They're ready,
Yep.
and it's a great way. I mean, being outside it's totally easy to social distance, especially if you get in wide open spaces.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that on the bike path in downtown Columbus, though.
Oh, yeah, I haven't been down. I avoid
And,
that.
Wow, there's people everywhere. So not only are you dodging geese, which are in the peak of their like almost out of nesting season, so they're pissed off, but you got the pissed off geese. You got more people outside than I believe you would normally have because people have been cooped up outside, and nobody's wearing masks out there.
No.
Nobody. I can't blame the runners.
Yeah.
I'm running. I'm not wearing a mask.
I'm
I
not
just
either.
avoid people. I take these huge, awkward, like if I see someone coming, I just take
Yeah.
these like really awkward, like U's around them.
I do too.
And then if someone passes me, I like stop and peel off. Because another thing, people don't realize, and there were some studies that came out of Europe that showed, and this is not specific to this virus, but when you're running or biking, when you're exhaling, that gets pulled into the vacuum behind you. So you leave like the faster you're going,
vapor trail.
you leave a trail of stuff that will gradually sink to the ground. And so when people pass me on their bike or they're running, I will like veer to the side and then slow down or stop until they're like 20 or 30 feet ahead of me and let that kind of hit the ground. Cause I don't want to be breathing their air.
No.
Well, that's one thing. Like I spent an afternoon this week down at Audubon Park, and I didn't wear a mask. Should I have had a mask on?
Yes.
I was never far from. I was never close to people. But do I start wearing a mask now when I walk my dogs, when I ride my bike?
It's true. I guess if you're not close to people,
I don't know.
I bring my little gator running with me just so if I need to, like if there's a group of people that look sickly to me, I can throw it on my face.
Yeah.
But I don't wear it. No one's wearing masks outside. Nobody.
Mm-mm.
Now in the grocery store,
Yeah.
the rare times I go in, people are wearing masks there.
Yeah.
We just picked up food. Maybe
Yeah.
50% had masks on.
Yeah.
But outdoor, biking, walking, running, walking dogs, nobody's wearing masks.
I would say walking, I see maybe 15% people are wearing a mask, just out for a stroll.
Yeah. And then I see a lot of people just covering their face. Like they don't got a mask. They got like a scarf on. You know, I guess that's better than
bandana,
nothing.
a gator.
The bandana is my favorite because you look like an outlaw.
Yeah.
You look like Billy the Kid.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna start wearing a bandana. Why?
A black one?
I've been wearing a medical mask the whole time. No, I'm switching to bandana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You at least look badass.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about the coronavirus.
I know, but it's the only thing going on right now.
I was hoping you would have some sort of like funny stories about us being outside growing up.
Well, I do. I was thinking about that when I was coming over here today, and I do have a couple of funny stories
I'm sure people
kind of
would like to
popped
hear
up
them.
in my mind. The one that came to mind first was we were out in Jackson Hole. We were at Jackson Lake, and we had walked down to the edge of the lake, and it was Kevin and I. And
I remember this.
And I was we had our bathing suits on, and I was very gingerly putting my feet into the ice cold glacier melt Jackson Lake. And Einstein over here comes up beside me and he says,
first off, how old was I?
you would have
I was in like 6th grade.
no, Lisa was going to be a senior in high school. So you would have been like 10-ish.
Okay. All right. I was 10.
Okay, 10. So I'm
Kids do
standing.
stupid things.
I'm standing on the side of Jackson Lake, and I'm very gingerly walking in, and it is just freezing. And you're beside me, and you look at me, and you go, "Mom," he goes, "You're doing this all wrong." Because my swim coach told me, my swim coach taught me that the way you get into water is you just jump in.
Hey, that's true.
So you jump in the water and you come up and you go,
It's cold.
"Oh shit!
It's
Oh
cold.
shit!"
I remember
cold.
thinking it was very cold, but for some reason I kept thinking that was an area that had water moccasins
Oh, water moccasins.
or copperheads.
Think about all the
in Jackson, we're at 10,000
They don't have poisonous
elevation.
snakes out there.
think about all the shock proteins your body
Yeah.
produced at that point.
It's probably healthy for me.
Yeah.
People in Scandinavia do that. Also on that trip,
Well, the
this
hike.
is a great story.
The hike.
Great story about parents lying to their children.
Yeah, the hike.
Yeah.
We would
So-
never have gotten you up there otherwise.
So-
So
terrible.
10. All right, so I was 10, so he was 13.
Yeah,
So we went on. I remember this hike.
10 miles.
Well, it was 5 up and 5 down.
5 up, 5
All
down.
right.
Okay.
So
but
first
it
off-
was 5 up.
It was probably. I don't mean. We could look it up. It's probably a 2,000 or 3,000 foot climb. It was 5 miles
Yeah.
up the mountain.
Yeah.
There was no, and maybe it's just because it was hard to remember, but there was no just long, gradual.
No, it was
It
It was switchback.
It was switchbacks,
It's- yeah,
5
it was just-
miles.
5 miles of goddamn.
And
switchbacks.
obviously, as a 10-year-old, it's terrible.
What was that lake called?
Jenny Lake.
Yeah, Jenny Lake. It was the
Um,
Jenny Lake Trail.
And we were told,
We told you that there was a McDonald's at the top.
and I was 10, so I believed you. And we got to the top.
There was no McDonald's.
There was nothing. There was just a glacier.
There was
There
a
was
lake.
snow.
There was a
It
stupid
was
lake.
August, and there was still glacier melt. It was
a
beautiful.
pretty lake.
It was beautiful, but you were pissed.
Yeah.
You were more pissed than he was.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
hike anyone. If I was 32 and I hiked 5
Yeah.
miles up a mountain and I thought I
Yeah.
was getting McDonald's at the end, I'd
Yeah.
be pissed.
It's
Now,
set-
I do have a funny story about coming down from
it's
that
7.1.
Up
No,
total.
Total,
Okay, so
okay,
7.
7.1.
What's the elevation
the-
gain on that? Do you got that? What is it? It better be a lot.
hike. 500 feet.
No, it's not. We were on the Jenny Lake Trail,
Yeah, I know. It's 3.4 miles each way.
but I don't think this was the Jenny Lake Trail. We started at Jenny Lake. Jenny Lake Trail goes around Jenny Lake. We started at Jenny Lake
We
and
went up.
What's your other story?
The other story was coming down.
figure it
You
out.
guys were so pissed that you wouldn't walk with Lisa and I, your sister. So Lisa and I went down, and we got down, and we were waiting for you in the parking lot. And these 2 cars pulled in the parking lot. And there was this young girl. She was
Amphitheater
probably,
Lake.
that's what it was. I
Love
think
how
it was.
that was
Yeah.
such a terrible experience for me. I remember it.
Stop.
All right.
It was bad.
Okay,
It
so
was bad.
we're in the. It wasn't that bad.
It was bad.
Oh, stop.
All right.
Okay, so we were in the parking lot waiting on you guys who were, pissed and whatever. So this car pulls up. Lisa will remember this. This car pulls up, and this young girl gets out, and another car pulls up, and we can figure out the story is that they're going to backpack overnight, and he is
Ooh,
a professional.
this is rough.
Hold on. Finish the story.
Yeah,
he's
go
a
ahead.
he's a professional backpacker, and she somehow she's hired him to take her bike backpacking. So she gets her backpack. She has a huge, enormous backpack, and she gets it out of her car, and they're talking, and all of a sudden he opens her backpack, and in her backpack she's got makeup. She's got jars,
Gotta look good out there.
huge jars of peanut butter. I mean, she's got probably 25 pounds
This was,
of garbage.
prior to the ultralight.
And
This
he's
was the
like,
90s. This is the late
he's
90s.
throwing all this
oh
stuff
nice.
in the parking lot. It's like,
Nice.
you are not taking this. You are not taking this. You are not taking this.
That's
yeah.
funny.
So
All right.
Did he tell her there was a McDonald's up there?
He didn't know.
All right, all right. What? Give me
Amphitheater
the
Lake.
metrics on this hike. I think I
Oh,
remember.
is it
10
probably like a
miles.
mile?
No, it was 5 up, 5 down, right?
Correct.
10? Okay.
Oh.
5 up, 5
I
down.
remember
So
this.
10 miles and 31.50 in 5 miles. That is brutal. I can't believe we did.
Yeah, but think of the memories you have from it. You remember that.
I do. I remember the name of that. All right, so make a 10-year-old. Devin's probably watching this, and he makes his kids do all this stuff.
Yeah, a 10-year-old goes straight
3,200 foot climb
you
over 5 miles.
loved it. It gave
Damn.
you something to bitch about for the rest of your life.
I remember going down. It
Yeah.
was much
I remember
easier.
going down and being surprised that it was harder than I thought it
Yeah,
would
it
be.
is hard.
Because on your calves.
Yes.
It
Your
was
knees.
like
And your
your
knees.
knees. It
Yeah.
was so
Going
it was
down
harder.
sucks almost as much as
Yeah.
going up.
Yeah, 10 miles.
Yeah.
Jeez. 31.50.
5 miles
Wait, so,
from McDonald's.
So were you just like
No food.
Were you just like
No food.
Were you just like, what hike can we take them on to just
Yeah.
destroy them?
Just- yeah. I think we had some granola bars. or
I
something.
remember we had Nature's Valley granola
Granola
bars and we had
bars.
fanny packs.
Fanny pack.
I remember that. That's the only hike I remember from that trip.
That was
Yeah.
that I think did you guys in. I think
we had
after
enough
that.
hiking after that.
Yeah.
Do you remember Yellowstone? I remember.
I do.
The thing I
Yeah.
remember Yellowstone. We were at the place in Yellowstone where they have the mud pots, those bubbly, boily things, that and some woman had climbed the fence.
I remember that. European.
Yes, European. She had climbed the fence and was standing in the mud flats with the child, and the husband was outside the fence taking their picture.
That seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
And
They
Great
were
idea.
they were the type of people that
Great
also
idea.
tries to put their kid on like a bison to get a picture?
Yeah, no.
That's the same people.
There's got to be
No.
some context to this trip because we did the classic throw your kids in an RV and drive out west, and that's where we did this. So
I'm trying to remember one of you,
we did Yellowstone, we did Grand Tetons, we did the frickin' Corn Palace,
the Black Hills,
Black
we did
Hills,
the Black Hills,
which we went back to and back.
we backpacked. We went back and backpacked.
and
there.
Jackson Hole,
We did
Jackson
Jackson Hole.
Lake.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What else did we do?
Oh, I
the
remember.
frickin'
I
Corn
no,
Palace.
no.
We're all drug.
I remember on the way home, we were going to take the southern route, and we decided we had seen that quaint little town somewhere near the Black Hills. And we were like, we got to go back to this quaint little town. It is so cute. And we drive all the way back there. And it's a town of nothing but casinos.
Oh,
What
I
was
know
the
where this
name?
is.
Remember?
I know exactly.
Oh,
What
my
it is.
God.
Famous Kevin Costner movie.
Yeah. Well, it had that
it
one.
Deadwood?
Deadwood, South
Deadwood,
Dakota.
South Dakota.
Just
Oh
a
my
tourist
gosh.
hellhole.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's like I just remember walking, I turned this corner and I looked down Main Street and all I see is people with cottage cheese containers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what are people in this town doing with cottage cheese containers? And they were full of, I mean, back then,
Full of coins.
quarters.
A lot of old people.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just Googled it. It's known for gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there a Kevin Costner show, or did he own a casino there?
Well, there was a casino that is filled with costumes from Hollywood movies. There's a lot of Star Wars costumes. And I think there was some for some Kevin Costner movies, like maybe Dancing with the Wolves or whatever. I think there's a casino that has a lot of Hollywood memorabilia in it.
The town of Deadwood was born in 1876 from the gold rush.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And
There
there's
you
a
go.
cemetery there. Is that where not Billy the Kid. There's a famous outlaw.
It was Billy the Kid.
Wasn't he an outlaw?
Billy
Well,
the Kid was, right?
There's a
Andy's Googling
cemetery
hard
there.
over
He's
here.
hard.
I know.
Yeah. There's a
This is
cemetery in
just-
That's
this
why we
Deadwood.
need Sam.
this is
Or was Deadwood the scene of a
There was a shootout.
no,
shootout,
that's not in
right?
Deadwood. That's in I know what you're talking about. I don't think that was in Deadwood.
Also on that
Where
trip,
they reenact the shootout at the OK Corral.
wait, hold on. We went to Cody, Wyoming.
Cody
Yes.
is where that was.
Yes.
That's not where OK Corral was.
No, but
No.
that's
that was
where
in
they
Oklahoma.
No, but that's where they reenacted it.
I just remember they did some sort of Cody, Wyoming is a very cool town
Mm-hmm.
in the
That's
northwest
where we went
corner
to
of
the
Wyoming.
rodeo.
You know what the
And
coolest part
we went
about
to-
Cody
Oh,
is?
wait, do you remember? You know what the coolest part of Cody, Wyoming was? And I
Oh,
know
God.
exactly what he's going to say.
Yeah, it's the
the
firearms
gun museum.
The firearms museum.
They have they
No,
have
it's a
they
Wild
have,
Bill Cody Museum.
Well,
No, it's a gun
they have
museum.
and it's like a million guns.
It's the coolest thing ever, and it's like it's not like new. It's like all guns from like throughout history.
Yeah.
They have a
I
Gatling
remember
gun
that.
there.
Yeah.
And we did
I
go to a
remember that.
rodeo there. I remember that. We didn't do any hiking there, I don't think.
I'm trying to remember.
Cody Firearms Museum.
Yeah, that place is cool.
That is sweet.
Very cool. Even if you're not into guns from a historical antique perspective, it's a very cool
Yeah.
place to go.
Yeah, that was sweet.
I'm trying to remember who you guys thought was on Mount Rushmore. It was really funny. It wasn't the right guys.
Can you name the 4 people on Mount
Okay,
Rushmore?
now wait a minute. Teddy Roosevelt.
Uh-huh. There's a
There's a few more.
there's a few more.
Aren't there 4?
Yes. I think so.
Benjamin Franklin is not one.
He is not.
Because I think that was one of your guesses. Oh, God, I don't want to get it wrong.
Well, okay.
Washington.
Think I was gonna say, think of the most famous.
Lincoln,
Yep.
Roosevelt,
Yep.
Oh,
one
what
more.
was the last one?
Thomas Jefferson.
Oh,
Jefferson,
Benjamin,
yes.
but Benjamin Franklin.
I remember
wasn't president,
somebody thought
right?
Benjamin Franklin
He
was
wasn't
up there.
president.
No,
Uh-uh.
he was an ambassador.
And then we went to the thing.
Crazy Horse.
Crazy Horse.
That was cool.
That was cool.
We
And
went-
do you remember the Badlands?
I do.
I love the Badlands. That
We,
was very cool.
When we went backpacking there, we drove through the Badlands, and people were backpacking not far from Mount Rushmore, which I thought was kind of cool.
I thought Mount Rushmore was beautiful at night. I remember
they
driving
light it
in.
up.
Remember it was all lit up. Yeah,
And I think
it
they
was
do. I think
beautiful.
on 4th of July they do like a really cool fireworks display behind it, which I think would be.
I
would be
remember.
cool.
I remember being amazed that we would get up in the morning and we were in Yellowstone. It's like, oh, we're going to do this today and this today and this today and this today, and you find out they're all like 75 miles apart because
Mhm.
it's so immense. I remember we went to the northern gate of Yellowstone, and there was like these people's houses, and there's just moose everywhere,
It was,
just
elk.
wandering.
It was elk.
I remember that.
Was it elk?
I thought
Yeah,
it was
it's elk.
moose.
Okay.
No, it's elk.
I remember Old Faithful
Yeah, I remember Old Faithful.
just sitting in that.
Sitting there
freaking
waiting
thing,
for it to
and
go.
there's
How
like a
often does it?
Andy will get
I
that.
know.
I think it's every like hour and
mi-
change. It's
I
not
ca-
every.
I
Were you about to
can't
say every
remember.
2 minutes?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hold on.
What do I know?
Still Googling elk.
Probably
here.
wouldn't call it Old Faithful. You're still,
He's still Googling.
No, because there's actually some
I
interesting.
thought it was in Montana. Did we
No.
go to Montana on
No.
that trip?
There's
Uh-uh.
actually some theories about.
But the Northern Gate,
Is it in
I
Montana?
think, takes you into Montana. I think it is in Montana.
There's theories about the elk in Yellowstone.
You know they're like really habituated to
So-
humans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the elk.
Yeah.
So a theory, I don't know if this is proven, but a theory is that they hang out in the towns because the wolves don't go into the towns.
That'd be smart.
Interesting.
I
Now,
don't know.
best story. I
Best
completely
story.
forgot.
Is
The
this-
best story of the whole trip.
What?
We're leaving
Oh,
Yellowstone.
don't tell this story.
Okay.
Wait, I don't know what it
This
is.
is when we got kicked out.
Oh yeah, this is a great story. my wife and her mom love, and I will tell the story.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Not
I don't
you.
care.
Okay.
So-
so we were. We
You're-
left We had heard that the traffic to get out of Yellowstone was really bad, really, really bad. So we got up real early in the morning, and you guys were still asleep
We're in an RV.
in the motorhome. You guys were asleep, and so I was driving the motorhome, and your sister was riding shotgun, and your dad was driving the rental car behind us.
Mm-hmm.
So we're driving, and you guys wake up, and you start fighting. And you're fighting, and we're yelling at you.
What were we
to be
fighting
quiet.
about?
I don't remember. It could have been a piece of dust.
We
You're
don't normally
fighting, you're
fight that
fighting.
much.
No, you don't. No. But you were. It
So I was
bad.
10 and he was 13.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So
I would have
all
won.
of a sudden,
probably.
I
Joke's on us, and neither of us won.
yeah, I know.
and I could see the rental car behind us. So
Oh, she says that now.
I pulled the motorhome off the side of the road. I got out of my seat. I opened the door and I said to you two, get out.
Okay, hold on. I remember
There's a
this
little bit
story.
more to that.
I remember the story. You were not this calm.
No.
You were pissed.
Well, I had to listen to you two. You were going at it like.
Okay, this is how I
Drive me
remember it.
nuts.
Andy and I were beating the shit out of each other.
Oh, that, yeah. Yes. Yes.
We're in the motorhome. So we're in an RV. Got a rental car behind us. Was Lisa? Lisa was in the motorhome with us?
Lisa was shotgun
All right. And
beside
And by the way,
me.
the rental car wasn't right behind us.
No, that's why I was
Yeah.
about to call bullshit.
Yeah, it wasn't just
Mom kicks us out of the motorhome. We're
On
in
the side of the road.
The side of the road in the middle of Wyoming.
In their-
And it's
in
not
their
just
under-
like
in their underwear.
It's not just like you just pulled over and it's like, hey kids, can you get outside? And there's a car waiting for us. No, you pulled over, you screamed at us, kicked us out of the RV, and then we were on the side of the road while another car came and got us.
Yep.
It's pretty funny though.
but I remember your sister
That was
just
leaving
laugh-
Yellowstone?
I was leaving Yellowstone, and the only reason we got up early was somehow somebody had told us that the traffic to get out of
That
that
makes
eastern
sense.
gate.
I'm sure it
Yeah.
was.
And we were going back to Cody, and I remember when your dad picked you up, he just looked at you and said, "I don't know what you guys did, but it must have been really bad."
See, nowadays if you do that, we could like
Oh,
we
God.
could light you up on social media.
We
I would
could,
have been in the pokey.
we could go live with some rich people.
Yeah,
Probably a nice ranch out there. I forgot about that story.
I forgot about that.
My
Story,
mother-in-law really likes that story.
Yeah. Oh God.
You don't remember what we were fighting about though?
I don't. It was just. It was incessant, and it wouldn't stop. I
Makes
do. I
sense.
also remember from that trip, we stopped in Sioux Falls, Sioux City or Sioux Falls, and we went to a not a Walmart, like a Sam's Club, and we let you guys buy a movie, like that used to be on the
Like a VHS.
VHS movie,
Was it
and
the-
you
was it
picked
The
out
Sandlot?
it was The Sandlot.
Oh, we watched the shit out
And
of
by
that
the
movie.
end of the movie,
Great
we didn't
movie.
even need the audio because you guys knew every
I remember that.
line
It's a
of
great
the
movie.
movie.
I still
Sandlot.
I
It's a
still
great
know
movie.
I still know tons of them.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I forgot about that. Watched
Yeah,
the shit
The
out of that
Sandlot.
movie. So that was a fun trip.
That was a fun trip.
Minus getting. So the only other trips I remember growing up were
Skiing.
Yeah, but like non skiing. We went to Michigan.
Went to Michigan.
Sleeping Bear Dunes. That was kind of an outdoor.
Well, we used to go to the
Vermont. We went to
Vermont.
Vermont. That was cool.
And we went to the
Vermont.
Cherry Fest. We used to go to the Cherry Festival in Michigan.
in
Vermont was
Petoskey.
beautiful. And we went to Stowe. Remember we were at the in
So
Stowe?
the only thing I remember about Stowe was didn't we do the little concrete luge thing?
We went up to it. I don't. It was right.
did
It
it.
was left over from the Olympics.
And I
No, we
remember-
did it.
I
It was an
remember-
alpine slide.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
I remember going to the shit. What's the name of the fort? You
Oh
probably know.
yes, the one at Ticonderoga.
Yeah, we went
isn't
to
it?
Fort Ticonderoga.
Yeah, right on Lake Champlain.
And that was very cool.
Yeah.
Anytime small kids and forts and guns and cannons.
Yeah. Oh, your favorite? Don't you remember?
yes,
I remember.
I knew you
your
were gonna bring this
favorite.
up.
Your favorite fort.
Yes, this is the coolest fort
No,
ever.
it wasn't this one.
No, I know what you're going to talk about.
I don't know.
Edinburgh
The one in
Castle.
Scotland.
Edinburgh Castle.
So
oh my lord.
We went to another trip. We went to England and Scotland, and in the capital of Scotland, at like the top of the freaking
Royal Mile.
city,
Yep.
there's this massive fort, and they have I think they have the biggest cannon.
They have
right?
I remember the cannons.
They've got some outrageously cool cannons.
I remember we just we
Good
went,
artillery.
and they have that sword there. It's a real.
Is it William Wallace's sword?
Oh, I
his
can't-
claymore?
Google that.
Google.
Google that.
Famous sword in
Yeah,
Scotland.
Yes.
There's like a million of them.
Edinburgh.
It's talking about William Wallace's. Wasn't it
Edinburgh Castle
Scottish?
sword.
Mel Gibson.
Oh, that was when you made that comment about that movie.
All I
Oh my
remember
gosh.
from Edinburgh, Scotland, is there are homeless people playing bagpipes on the streets, and
I don't
people
remember that.
Yeah, and people in England and Scotland, because I was young, eat some weird shit. I
Yeah,
remember that.
They do. And their breakfasts are huge and they're fabulous.
I just remember the blood pudding stuff.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And what kippers? Remember the kippers?
That's
the little
fish.
fish. Yeah. They're almost like sardines.
And baked beans
Yeah.
for breakfast,
Yeah,
which
baked
I
beans
thought
for
personally
breakfast.
I thought was pretty cool.
Yes.
And I remember that was my first introduction to foreign currency, and they had They had pfennigs. What did they have? Pounds.
Pfennigs or like pennies.
And I remember because the exchange rate was like it was actually like 2 to 1. I remember
Yeah.
thinking like, oh, you could get a candy bar for like
Yeah.
15 pfennigs. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is so cheap because I thought it was kind of like a cent, but it really wasn't.
You guys like that?
There's like 10,000 swords in this castle.
Oh.
Is William Wallace's sword there?
I don't know.
It's British. It's a British sword and it's jeweled. I just remember it was really cool. You
Famous
guys like
swords
the
in Europe.
Oh, stop. How about the you
Just a
like
couple.
the
Just a couple.
we went to York and
York was cool.
Andy loved the sandwiches. Remember in the Shambles they had those turkey sandwiches with the dressing and the cranberry sauce, and then you both liked the Viking Museum.
Viking
Remember?
Museum was cool.
That was very
There's
cool.
also a torture museum.
We did not go there.
Yeah, we did.
Didn't? Yeah, I thought we did.
But didn't
Yeah.
but we did do that spooky
the spooky walk
the
thing.
spooky walk at night. Yeah.
And I also remember a cool thing about England in general was a lot of the towns had walls around them.
Yeah.
From the Romans.
Yeah, I thought that
Mm-hmm.
was cool.
Remember Chester? Chester is on the border Wales. I think Chester is actually in Wales, but it's a little walled city.
They all had
It was
walls.
very, very,
Until
very
the-
cool.
Smart.
Was it until the Saxons took over the
Need
Roman
walls.
Empire?
The Romans did that?
Yeah, those were Roman walls.
Really?
Yeah, and then this. Yeah, the Romans were the ones that built all the walls.
We're playing fast and loose with the history.
Yeah.
there.
Who built the wall?
Yeah.
We didn't do anything outdoorsy on that trip,
Around.
though.
We
Right?
did a little bit of hiking
Yeah, it's
in
the Romans.
Yorkshire. But not a whole. Yeah, mostly we're in the cities. We didn't spend. We were in Yorkshire a couple days in the smaller towns, but
Yep, Romans built the walls around Chester as well.
Those Romans.
Damn Romans.
They were thinking.
Romans.
Nice.
They got taken down.
They did. All right. Well, that was a good trip.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember other outdoorsy things we used to do growing
we used to
up.
go to the that festival with the bluegrass festival. We did that. That was fun.
Yes.
But that was local. That was just only about an
that
hour
was
from home.
at Mohican State Forest for all the Ohio people listening.
Mhm.
They have
That was
bluegrass
really
festival.
fun.
That was pretty cool.
That
That
was
was
fun.
that was just as it was camping. That wasn't like outdoorsy though.
Well, no, not really.
Andy's still
we
Andy's
did-
still trying to find the
He's still
sword.
googling the sword.
No, not our sister, but Lisa is in the chat.
Yeah.
And she gave a tip that there's to Google something called the Honors of Scotland, which is the Scottish.
You gotta tell me where William Wallace's sword is.
It's there. It's somewhere. I'll look it up. All right. Gosh, I'm doing.
You were the one. What was the movie?
That's why we need Sam.
Is it Braveheart?
Yeah.
Okay. You were the one that when you watched that movie and you told me you couldn't believe that Mel Gibson looked like William Wallace.
Yeah, he has striking resemblance. They picked a good. I saw that movie before I even knew that was a true story.
That was a true story.
Yeah, it's a great movie. But did I see that movie before that trip? That's an aggressive movie to have a 10-year-old watch.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
What are the honors of Scotland?
It's like the crown jewels of Scotland,
Yeah.
which
okay.
also includes some very
some
decorative swords.
I see a
Some
sword.
swords.
What's
So
that sword?
This is the Wallace sword.
Yeah, so that's his
See?
sword. So is that in Edinburgh Castle?
No.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
It might have been at one point, but the Wallace sword is proudly on display in the Hall of Arms, the first floor gallery inside the National Wallace Monument.
Where's the
Wow.
National Wallace Monument? Is it in Edinburgh Castle?
No, but I think it is in Edinburgh. Hold on.
That would make sense.
Uh,
Well, anyway. That was fun.
That was a good trip.
Um,
We did a lot of beachy vacations.
Yeah.
Did a lot of things on the beach, and I went to hang out with manatees. And I remember doing
we didn't do any camping vacations. I mean, we did everything in the motorhome.
We did a lot in the motorhome. We didn't. Back then, I mean, the camping stuff was. I mean, a tent that you got a canvas tent. That's
But
gonna
you're just
leak.
in a car. It's not like weight matters.
No, I mean leaking wise. If it starts to rain,
Do canvas tents leak?
the one
Andy?
we had did.
Andy's
hold on, sorry.
Googling?
I will.
He's Googling directions from here to Scotland.
No. Okay, so I will answer your question about canvas tents because I've spent many a night in
Yeah.
a canvas tent.
That's right.
They will get soaked. They'll get soaked.
And then if you touch them,
Well,
They
they will.
like a sill where it'll just bleed through.
No, they'll get soaked, and then eventually, like hours upon hours upon hours of heavy rain, you'll get tiny little drips. But then you've also got like wax embedded canvas as
Yes, like coated, like wax coated. You didn't have those.
well.
we didn't have that.
Yeah. Okay,
No
so
thanks.
the Wallace Monument is in the Edinburgh area.
Okay, but not in the castle.
Oh,
So my thing
no.
about thinking William Wallace's sword is in that castle is I'm probably off base there.
The National.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, canvas is actually pretty sweet. It's
heavy.
super heavy. But
Super
you
heavy.
get like
canvas is pretty sweet.
It is. It's very
It's
cool.
heavy and
Is
it
it better?
smells.
Is it better in any way, shape, or form than any other material?
Maybe from a durability standpoint.
So it's durable.
Yeah. Maybe from like I mean,
Guess,
people
yeah, it's
like
durable.
I mean, you can still buy World War I tents and use them.
And they're waterproof.
They okay, the definition of
they're not selling me there.
the definition of waterproof is different back then.
The definition of waterproof is a pretty straightforward definition in my
You're
head.
either wet or you're not wet.
So I've been in canvas tents in the pouring rain, and they will soak. So if you touch them, they'll be wet to the touch. But in general, they don't like it
So
doesn't
they're
like drip down.
not waterproof.
No, but it does a good job of keeping the rain off of you. But the problem is it probably takes like a week to dry.
To dry them out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and then I remember my first time backpacking as an adult this was a good story. I went down to Smoky Mountains with
Oh
Gerhard
yeah, that was for your senior project.
for my senior thesis.
That's
and
it.
we used metal external frame backpacks. And that's the only time I've ever used those. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
With like
Yeah.
the metal frame
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah,
Those were a huge thing
yeah.
Yeah,
for many years.
we should get some of those.
What kind of tent did you have on that trip?
We shared a tent. It was not a canvas tent. I don't remember. I remember I had the sleeping pad. We shared a tent. But back to your comment, I have been thinking about we should do a retro hike.
I wanted to
go to some army surplus store.
I've actually got all
I know you do.
Yeah, because you've got all that
Yeah, I got
reenactment stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got I got stuff.
Do you have a metal frame
Mhm.
pack? Is the Vietnam enactment? Why would you have a metal frame one?
Well, if you're talking military packs, they're still using like external.
They
frame.
are?
Yeah,
That
like
seems
some of
silly.
that, like the Alice packs, and then in like there are framed and non-framed ones, but like some of the historical stuff, they're all framed, all metal tubing.
Yeah, that's what I remember. And then it's like literally a metal tube with backpacking straps
With
attached
wood,
to it.
Yeah, and when you talk
And
about
there's rig
backpacking
stuff
straps,
onto
it's
it.
like a canvas strap.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Do you
I
re-
don't remember hip belts being
No.
big.
Mm.
So it was
And
like
if
all
you-
on your shoulders.
Yeah, and if you want to get real fun, get some pack boards.
What is that?
That is basically a piece of. It's what it sounds. It's like a board on your back, and then you lash stuff to it.
Why would you do this?
Sounds
You can
horrible.
carry a large load on them.
Is it like a wooden board?
Yeah.
So it's just like a board.
Yeah. Yeah.
So instead of a metal frame, you have a board.
Yep.
You just like nail shit to it.
You would like lash stuff through it. So like this is crazy.
It's called a pack board.
Pack board. They've used them throughout all of time, but like you would stack ammo cans on them, or like lash
okay.
a machine gun on there.
Okay.
And like to
Gosh.
like yeah. As far as
Should we do a machine gun hike?
No.
We could buy some like ones that don't work, like some M50s,
M50,
M6. What's the machine gun? M60.
there's a lot of them.
What's like the one?
The one?
The one from
I mean,
Vietnam. The M60. It's
Yeah.
the M60, right?
There is an M60. Yeah.
But that's like the one, like the Vietnam one.
oh
you
from
think of?
Vietnam?
Just like the prototypical machine gun. We think of like a.
M15?
No.
No.
The M yes,
M60.
An M60 exists.
Okay, that's one thing. Aren't they like 50 pounds? They're super heavy.
I don't know how much they weigh.
Okay.
Depends on how much crap you put on them.
Yeah.
God.
Well, that would be fun to do.
Well,
Yeah,
pack
no
board,
thanks.
but pack boards isn't just a military thing. Like that's like the old school way of like carrying big loads like into the backcountry. Like have you ever seen any of those like the footage on YouTube of like people in like the 40s and 50s or maybe the 60s like building cabins in the wilderness? They'd carry in big pack boards full of like tools and stuff.
I don't think I've ever seen what these things are.
Really?
Maybe.
Oh.
Pull up a picture.
God.
Google that.
That sounds painful.
Can you still buy them?
Yeah.
Like Marmot's making a pack board pack?
No.
Like the North Face has their newest one?
Yeah, I have a World War II one.
Yeah.
Um,
There have been some. I don't know if you probably don't watch any other backpacking
So that's-
YouTubers.
that's like a military application.
Okay. All right. It's literally a
Board.
board with
Yeah.
Straps.
on it.
Like
Looks
for-
really comfortable.
It's yeah.
Heavy.
It looks really
amazingly
ergonomic.
Yeah.
Ergonomic.
Like
Heavy.
there's a different one.
Okay. It's a piece of wooden board on your back.
yeah.
Nice.
But if you think about like modern hunting packs, it's kind of like a similar concept,
Similar.
except they just put a bag on it.
Yeah.
Actually, this is the exact one that I have.
So what you're looking at, people,
That's a World War II pack board
it's a board.
with
It's
some
a
canvas.
board. It's a board with straps, with backpacking straps on. No hip belt. You're not getting a hip belt.
No, you're taking the load.
All the
Yeah.
loads on your shoulders.
No, they would. I mean, anything and everything. Ammo.
I did
fuel.
think Syntax did so this other YouTuber did a backpacking hike where didn't he use all old stuff? Old military surplus stuff? Didn't
Yeah.
he?
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool.
I don't think it was
Wow.
that. I mean, it was probably like 80s, 90s.
Yeah, it wasn't like World War II stuff, but I thought that was kind of cool.
Now they haven't shut any of the national parks down, have they?
They have.
They have.
They have. They're all closed.
Smoky
Smoky's
Mountains is closed. Yosemite was closed. I don't
Like
know if
it's the
it still is.
Appalachian Trail.
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
Oh.
So the entity that oversees the Appalachian Trail,
Yes.
it's called the Appalachian Trail Conservancy.
Yes.
They don't want people hiking on it as of like a month ago. I don't know
Okay.
if they've changed that
Okay.
because, and the reason is they don't want people moving from town to town. And there's these tiny towns,
Right.
like tiny
Damascus,
towns.
yeah.
Yeah. That's even a big one compared
That's a
to
big
some.
one.
Yeah.
But they don't want people bringing these diseases
Yeah.
into these tiny towns where there's no hospitals.
Right. Right.
Now that was in March. That was a long time ago. So I don't know
Yeah.
if have you heard if they've loosened up?
I haven't been paying attention to it.
Most national forests where we go,
Yeah.
they've shut down all of the campgrounds, they've shut down all the restrooms, they've shut down all the pavilions, but they're still allowing people to quote unquote practice dispersed camping, which is what backpacking is.
Yeah.
So the national forests, at least the ones I've looked at, and the ones we go to, are still open.
Mm-hmm. We're lucky.
Yeah.
Yes, and unlike a lot of states, which I didn't know they were doing this, our state parks are still open in
Yeah.
Ohio. Our
Yeah.
state parks never closed, whereas they did in Pennsylvania and a couple other states. But yes, Smoky Mountains is closed, and it makes sense. There's so many people that go to Smokies. Yosemite was closed. I would assume Yellowstone was. I don't know that.
Yeah, I wonder if there are any national parks that are open.
Isle
What's that one in
Isle
Cleveland?
Royale's probably. Oh, that one in Cleveland's open. Cuyahoga. Did you know that?
That's a national
We
park.
have
Yeah.
a national park in Ohio.
I never knew that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
It's called Cuyahoga National Park.
What's
Yeah.
is that the emerald necklace? The
The Emerald
No,
Necklace?
it's got a waterfall.
It's the smallest national park.
It's on the east side, isn't it?
It's in
Okay.
Cleveland.
Yeah, it's on the east side of Cleveland, I think.
How did they get a national park?
I don't know. It doesn't require a budget.
Really?
Well, I mean, of course, it requires like a maintenance budget, and they probably have a couple rangers on staff. But I don't think there's a fee to get into it either. Like,
What's it? What is it called? Is it called Cuyahoga National Park?
Let's find out.
Yeah, it's nice having someone Google stuff.
I paid like $15 like 5 years ago, and it was the last time they offered it. You get a free pass
To
for the
all
rest of
them?
your life
Oh,
for every national park.
that's a good deal.
Yeah, it was like maybe it was more
Have
than
you
15
gone
bucks.
to a national park since?
I have not.
Since you purchased it?
I have not, but that doesn't mean to say
There's
I'm
not
not going
a
to
lot.
start.
There's not a lot of options. I think the closest
It's Cuyahoga Valley.
Cuyahoga Valley National Park in Cleveland.
Yeah,
Other than that, though, what is the closest
mean,
national park?
It looks
Is
pretty.
it Smoky Mountains?
Is there a national park in Illinois?
There's no way there's a national park in Illinois.
There's Shawnee
I'm thinking about
National
there's national
Forest.
forest. I'm thinking about Pennsylvania. If there's one in Pennsylvania,
or New York State.
New York State
I
gotta
don't know.
have one.
How would there be a national park in Ohio but not in Pennsylvania?
That is a great question. I'm thinking the Smokies is the closest one, right?
Well, Smokies would be 7 hours down
Smokies
to
in
Knoxville.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
What do we got?
Not seeing. Wait, Independence. Oh, okay. There's a national park in Philadelphia. Like,
Oh, right. Where
yeah.
it's
Oh,
around
like
it's
a
around
park.
the
Yeah.
Liberty Bell.
Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Because it's
count.
maintained by the Park Service.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
I mean, it does, but
Yeah.
that's like a park, like across. the
I've
street
been to
from
the
me.
one. What's the one I've been to in Alaska?
Denali.
No,
Just
I've
that
not been
one.
to Denali. What's the other one at the top of the interior passage? Oh shoot! I have the hat with the logo on.
Andy.
What do you want to know?
Alaska
The other-
national parks,
that's
not
not
Denali.
Denali.
Oh, there's tons of them there.
It starts.
Let's
Is it the one that starts with a K? Where
No.
the bears are?
No.
You know what I'm talking about? Where Grizzly Man got eaten. Catman. Cat.
So you got Denali, you got Glacier Bay, you
Yeah,
got
Glacier Bay.
Glacier Bay.
I've been to Glacier Bay.
The last national park you've been to.
There's Katmai.
Katmai. That's the one with the bears. Well,
Yeah.
they all
No,
have bears.
Glacier Bay's the one I'm thinking
There's
of.
Kenai Fjords.
Because we went
Katmai.
to Glacier Bay.
Is that a town?
No, it's a bay. It's the top of the interior passage. It's where we turned around on that National Geographic boat I was on.
I remember that.
that
remember that.
that was a
Alaska?
great trip because there was lots of hiking
Yeah.
and lots
you
of
went hiking
kayaking.
You went hiking in Alaska?
Every day.
That's pretty cool.
Every day.
That's pretty legit.
So you got Denali, you got Gates of the Arctic.
Oh, I've heard of that.
No,
Yeah, Glacier Bay,
that's where I was.
Katmai,
That's the ones with the bears.
Kenai Fjords.
Katmai is the one where they all have bears, but where like the classic, the bears are eating the salmon as they swim up.
That's what we saw that in
Kobuk
Juneau.
Valley. Wait,
There's a glacier in Juneau.
Is there one in?
Mendenhall Glacier.
I've heard of
The
that.
salmon were running, and you could watch them.
Is there a national park other than Isle Royale in Michigan?
God, Jesus.
I don't think there is. I'm trying to think of the closest ones. I got the Smokies and this park in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia would be. What's the drive to Philadelphia?
8 hours.
Yeah, it's far. It's far.
It's farther than Knoxville. which would be the Smokies.
Michigan, you got the National Lake Shores.
That's true. Those are very close to national parks. They are.
Like
Them-
Sleeping Bear Dunes or
Pictured Rocks.
Pictured Rocks?
You've got a National Historical Park called Keweenaw, which I'm
Keweenaw. That's
no,
an AUP.
it's yeah. You've got
There's no way Indiana has a national park.
you've got Pictured Rocks, the National Lake Shore, and then Isle Royale. That's it.
Okay, so Pictured Rocks is more than
What's a
7
National
hours away.
Lake Shore?
Yeah, I'm considering that a national park. I guess it's not. But Indiana doesn't have one, right? Illinois doesn't have one.
What about West Virginia?
West Virginia's got a lot of national forests.
Oh wait, I think Indiana has a national.
No
park.
way.
Hold on.
Hoosier National Park?
No, that's National Forest.
I know. They have a
What's the
Hoosier-
difference between a national forest and a national park?
That is a great question that I'm going to have Andy Google.
Oh,
So here is
Here you go. George Rogers Clark that's National Historical Park. Interesting.
what is that?
Indiana Dunes National Park.
Yeah, we should be calling David Gray right now.
That's on the shore of Lake Michigan.
So Indiana's got a real one. So to answer your question, I don't know the actual reasoning behind what they dictate as a national park versus national forest. I only know that backpacking is much easier from a regulatory standpoint in a national forest.
Oh, Dan made a comment here. Is the site in Pennsylvania where the plane crashed on 9/11 now a national park? Probably.
Ooh,
oh, yeah, where that plane went down.
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Or it's a historical site.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
a historical site at the least.
Because that's, what, southeast of Pittsburgh? I'm trying to remember.
I have
where
no
that is.
idea. I just know it's over Pennsylvania somewhere.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good
But in a
that's- yeah.
national forest, you're allowed to generally camp wherever you want. In a national park,
Oh, it's more controlled.
it's much more controlled.
Okay.
I think it has to
Okay.
do with budget. Okay, so national park versus national forest.
I'm sure there are people in the chat right now telling us.
Yeah. Perhaps the greatest difference between the two is the multiple use mandate for national forests, while national
Oh yeah,
parks
they can like strip mine national forests.
Yeah, while national
Oh.
parks are highly vested in preservation, barely altering the existing states, national forests are managed for many purposes: timber, recreation, grazing, wildlife, fish, and more.
Yeah, so they can you can harvest timber and drill for shale oil in national forests.
Now, before the COVID thing, you guys were going to go to Arizona in May?
Correct.
And
in
what
2
was-
weeks.
And what was in Arizona?
A little thing called the Arizona Trail. which
Okay.
is
It's
a-
only 800 miles.
It is actually very cool. It's 800 miles from Mexico to Utah
Yeah.
through the desert, Grand Canyon, Flagstaff, all that stuff.
So what part were you going to do? You were going to fly into Phoenix?
No, we
Maybe.
initially were gonna fly into Phoenix, but the next plan was flying to Las Vegas and rent a car and drive down through the Grand Canyon,
Ooh.
and then drop the car off and get a
Yes.
shuttle from the car to effectively 100 miles south of Flagstaff,
Okay.
and then backpack on the Arizona Trail from 100 miles south of Flagstaff into Flagstaff, fly out of Flagstaff.
Fly home from Flagstaff. Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, all the airlines canceled all the flights
All of them.
out of Flagstaff
Yeah.
back. This was when this thing first hit. They might be coming back now, but it was just not going to be logistically feasible
No.
to do that. So we're doing something else, and plans change. But it
Yeah.
is very pretty out there,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
very similar to Colorado. And furthermore, the reason we picked that area over, say, Lake Tahoe or Colorado is because of the time of the year, and
Snow.
there's still snow in
Yeah.
all those places.
Yeah.
So because it was in May, we
Yeah.
had to go somewhere south.
Yeah.
And there's also cool stuff in New Mexico.
Well, I've hiked around Santa Fe.
Yeah, there's
It's
stuff there. Yeah.
It's just beautiful.
So there was that, but the Arizona Trail is like really famous, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
cool.
Are there any pressing questions?
No.
Okay,
cool.
No, just
going over an hour
Yeah.
goes fast.
Well, it goes fast when you're having a good time.
Yeah, I've been enjoying these stories.
We get some
Yeah.
pack boards now.
You know. No. But I like the lemon chicken suggestion. I'm gonna
Yeah,
try
well,
that.
you've got a
We're gonna
bunch of
try
people
that.
now expecting it.
Yeah, we're gonna
So-
give that a whirl this week.
All right.
in my
Well,
spare time.
this has been fun.
Are we got some feedback. There was no lockdown live stream on Friday because
There wasn't.
Kevin and I we need a break.
We did like 5 in a row. We'll be back next Friday. You know, we take a Friday off, so we'll be back next Friday. We figured we were gonna do this live stream, so we didn't want to live stream Friday and today, but we will be back next Friday.
Yep, we'll put together a
Get some
aggressive
people.
agenda.
Yep. I thought it'd be fun to do something on Mother's Day with our mom. I
Yep.
think that's fitting.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
appreciate it.
So happy
Thank
Mother's Day to
you.
everybody.
Yep.
Is there anything else we should do?
No, it was
Cool.
good. It was a solid hour.
Solid hour
Solid
and
hour.
6 minutes. So, alrighty,
All right,
we're gonna call it. Go hang out with your mom.
we'll give you some Tim on the outro.
Mount LeConte.
Here's another one.
Mount LeConte.